At the beginning of the story, we see a group of illegal immigrants who have fled from China and arrived in Japan. Just then, a Japanese police officer spots them. As soon as one of the men notices the officer, he quickly pulls out a knife and kills him on the spot. Panic breaks out as everyone rushes to enter Japan, and in the chaos, they all manage to slip in illegally. Among that crowd, we notice a man named Nick. Since he has nothing with him, he steals clothes and shoes from a nearby house. Because he entered Japan illegally by sea, he starts searching for his friend Jay, a Chinese man who had arrived in Japan before him. As Nick moves through the city, his main focus is to avoid the police, constantly worried that he might get caught. Soon after, we see a flashback of his life in China, where he used to drive a tractor. He was relatively happy there, but his girlfriend, Yuko, dreamed of going to Japan to earn a lot of money. She had promised Nick that once she made enough money, she would return to China and come back to him. Nick was happy for her, but now several years have passed and Yuko still hasn't returned. When Nick learns that Yuko used to live with her aunt in Japan, but her aunt has now passed away and there is no information about Yuko's whereabouts, he becomes deeply worried. That's when he decides to go to Japan and find her, no matter what. Now the story shifts to the present, where Nick finally finds his friend Jay's place. We see that Jay lives in a rented house, sharing a single room with around 15 to 20 people, all of whom are illegal immigrants from China. Nick is extremely hungry since he hasn't eaten for days, so he immediately starts devouring the food. After that, he goes out with Jay to take a bath. Jay takes him to a public bathhouse, but unfortunately, members of the Yakuza gang are already there. Their leader mocks them, saying, "Why do all you Chinese people come here just to die?" Hearing this, both Nick and Jay get nervous. Nick then tells Jay that he has come to Japan to find Yuko. Jay responds, "Before you look for her, you need to find some work first." After that, the two head out in search of jobs. They eventually meet a man who takes some money from them and helps them get a garbage collection job. The next morning, Nick and Jay are seen working at a dumping ground, picking up trash. Suddenly, Nick notices that a huge pile of garbage is about to fall on a man named Ty. At the same time, the police arrive at the scene. Acting quickly, Nick and Jay manage to pull Ty out just in time, saving his life. Grateful for this, Ty gives them some cards so they can do a bit of shopping. Jay explains that these are stolen phone cards which can be used for small purchases. After this, the story shifts to the funeral of Japan's biggest Yakuza boss, where all the gang members are present. After the boss's death, a new leader is to be chosen. However, Tokugawa receives the fewest votes, which makes him furious, and he storms out of the funeral midway. Next, we are introduced to Inspector Tan, who has been assigned the task of capturing illegal Chinese immigrants. Meanwhile, Nick and the other immigrants are shown working in a sewer tunnel, when suddenly, the police arrive and surround them from all sides. At this point, the police line up all the immigrants and call for a translator. However, the translator's Chinese is very poor, so Inspector Tan has to step forward and speak in his own broken Chinese. Meanwhile, one of the officers starts handcuffing an immigrant. Seeing this, panic spreads and all the immigrants suddenly start running away. As the police chase them, Inspector Kitanano accidentally falls into a drain. The problem is, he doesn't know how to swim, and he begins to drown. Nick notices this. Even though he's trying to escape, he jumps back into the water to save the inspector. As soon as he makes sure that Inspector Kitanano is safe, Nick quickly runs away again. This incident changes something in the inspector. He realizes that the Chinese immigrants are human just like them. Quietly, he says to himself, "I will repay this favor someday." The next day, Nick and Jay go to the market. There, Nick is surprised at how easily people are stealing things. No one's stopping them. Jay explains, Japanese people are extremely honest. That's why shopkeepers often leave their stores unattended. You just take what you need and leave the money. However, instead of paying, these guys steal items and later go to the black market to sell them. They manage to earn a good amount of money from it, but Nick is an honest man. He doesn't like this kind of work at all. He refuses to take any share of the money and instead quietly takes up a job washing dishes at a restaurant. While working there, a girl notices his condition and gives him some money out of sympathy. She is accompanied by an old man who is heavily drunk. Suddenly, a group of goons arrives and starts harassing the girl. In the process, the old man also gets badly hurt. Seeing this, Nick puts aside his dishes, grabs an iron rod, and intimidates the goons. They immediately back off and run away. However, the old man is seriously injured, so the girl takes him back to a bar and gets him treated. It is then revealed that the bar actually belongs to the girl, whose name is Lily. She offers Nick some more money as a reward, but he refuses to accept it. In fact, he even returns the money she had given him earlier. From this, it becomes clear that Nick is a man of strong principles. A few days later, we see Nick working at a restaurant with Jay. While working there, Nick notices a man named Iguchi entering a bar accompanied by his wife. To his shock, Nick realizes that the woman is none other than Yuko. He is completely stunned. At the same moment, Yuko also sees Nick, and even Iguchi notices the two of them looking at each other. Later, after they return home, Iguchi asks Yuko, "Who was that man? Why were you looking at him like that?" Yuko calmly replies, "He's someone from my village." But for Nick, everything shatters in that moment. Seeing Yuko with another man breaks his heart. He comes to a harsh realization that honesty has no value in this world, and without becoming powerful, survival is impossible. From that point on, Nick abandons his principles and steps into illegal activities. From stealing goods to sabotaging gambling machines and making money through scams, he and his group get involved in all kinds of shady work. However, Jay is different. He's too scared to be part of illegal activities, so Nick and the others keep him out of it. One day, Nick asks Jay, "What do you actually want to do in life?" Jay simply replies, "I just want a normal life. Maybe run a small peanut cart and earn honestly." Hearing this, Nick and his friends decide to help him. They buy a peanut cart for Jay. Jay is overjoyed because all he ever wanted was a simple, honest way to earn a living. On New Year's Day, Jay brings Lily along with him. By now, Lily has become a good friend of his. Meanwhile, Nick is earning a lot of money through his illegal work. On the other side, we see Jay kindly serving peanuts to a local gangster's daughter. But unfortunately, her father catches them together. Furious, he calls Jay to his house and brutally beats him. When Nick finds out about this, he gathers a few of his men and goes to confront the gangster. At first, the gangster has a large group backing him, but soon Nick's other allies arrive as well, armed with whatever they could find. A violent fight breaks out, and Nick, along with his group, beats the gangsters badly. Seeing the chaos, the police quickly arrive at the scene. Nick rushes to grab Jay's peanut cart, but before he can escape, Inspector Kitano reaches there. However, instead of arresting him, the inspector simply says, "Thank you," remembering how Nick had saved his life that day in the sewer. At this point, Inspector Tan even diverts the police's attention away from Nick, allowing him to escape with the peanut cart. One day, Jay is standing with his peanut cart outside a gaming parlor. Just then, Tai arrives. Since he needs to go to the restroom, he asks Jay to sit at his gaming machine for a while until he returns. Jay agrees and sits there for a short time, but suddenly, a man named Gang grabs Jay by the collar and accuses him of tampering with the machine. Jay tries to explain, "This is my first time here. I just sell peanuts outside." But Gang refuses to listen and drags him outside. As Tai returns, he sees what's happening. Realizing the danger, he runs straight to Nick and tells him everything. Nick and his group immediately rush to save Jay, but before they can reach him, Gang brutally attacks Jay. He badly injures his face, and even after that, his anger doesn't stop. In a horrifying act, he cuts off Jay's hand so that he can never play games again. Jay, who was the most innocent among them, suffers terribly. When Nick and the others finally arrive, they beg Gang to return Jay's severed hand, but Gang is so cruel that he crushes the hand in front of them. With no other choice, they quickly take Jay and escape. Since they were illegal immigrants, going to a hospital would risk getting arrested, so they bring Jay home and call a doctor there for treatment. During the painful procedure, Jay screams in agony, and seeing this, Nick becomes deeply emotional. Fueled by rage, Nick decides to take revenge. Alone, he goes to the club carrying a sword. At the same time, a meeting is about to take place between Gang and Iguchi. It seems like Gang has already planned to kill Iguchi. Nick secretly watches as Gang pulls out a knife and attacks Iguchi. Just as Gang is about to strike him again, Nick steps in and cuts off Gang's hand, the same way he had done to Jay. After this, both Nick and Iguchi manage to escape from there. Later, Iguchi takes Nick to his house where he introduces him to Yuko and his daughter. At this point, Iguchi offers Nick a job, but Nick refuses to work for him. The next day, Iguchi arrives at Nick's place with another job offer. This time, Nick agrees, but on one condition. He wants legal status in Japan in return. Only then will he work for him. Since Iguchi wants to eliminate his enemies, he pays Nick a huge amount of money for the job. Nick executes everything perfectly, and soon, violent clashes erupt across the city between Yakuza gangs. Chaos spreads everywhere, with bloodshed on all sides. In the end, Iguchi wipes out all his rivals and becomes the sole boss. As promised, he hands over control of Shinjuku to Nick. Now everything changes. The same people who once looked down on Nick and his men begin to bow before him. But instead of expanding illegal operations, Nick takes a surprising step. He shuts down all illegal businesses. He tells his group, "We start fresh, no more illegal work. We'll open a restaurant, that way even the police won't bother us." Most of his people are happy with this decision, but Jay is not. After losing his hand and suffering those injuries, Jay has completely changed. The trauma has twisted his personality. He feels ignored, left behind, and deep inside, he's full of anger. Noticing this, Nick tries to help him by giving him control over a small area so he can run his own business. Years pass. During this time, Jay secretly joins hands with Iguchi and gets involved in illegal activities again, especially drug dealing. He is no longer the simple, innocent man he once was. Now he has built his own gang, roams the streets violently, and fully embraces the underworld. Nick, however, has no idea of any of this. He hasn't been in touch with Jay for a long time. Then, one day, Inspector Tan comes to Nick and reveals the truth. "Your friend Jay is working with Iguchi in the drug business." Hearing this, Nick is deeply shaken. He never wanted any of his people to return to crime. Nick promises the inspector, "I'll talk to him, I'll stop him." But Inspector Tan places another condition. "If you bring me evidence against Iguchi, the police will stay off your back." Lily also advises Nick to accept the deal, suggesting that this might be the only way out. However, Nick doesn't want to betray his friends because they were the ones who gave him food and shelter when he had nothing. So, instead, Nick decides to surrender. He tells the inspector that he had killed 2 men on Iguchi's orders. Hearing this, Lily becomes furious. She slaps him and says, "You're sacrificing yourself for people who don't even care about you." But despite this, Nick fully sides with Inspector Kitano. Nick then takes the inspector to his main hideout. There, they see Jay along with other men involved in drug dealing. Nick tries to reason with them. "Leave this business. We can live a simple life. If you testify against Iguchi, you can still be saved." But things take a sudden turn. A man named Tai brutally kills one of his own partners by slitting his throat. It becomes clear that Nick could be next. Just then, a stone crashes through the window and hits Tai. Within seconds, a barrage of stones starts raining inside. This attack is led by Nakajima, Iguchi's right-hand man. His motive is clear. He wants to drive all Chinese people out of Japan. With his men, Nakajima launches a full-scale attack on Nick's hideout. Iguchi is also present there, but as he tries to escape, Nakajima shoots him dead. Before dying, Iguchi pulls out a pen drive and hands it to Nick, saying, "Give this to the inspector. It contains all the secrets of the Yakuza's illegal operations." Soon, the police arrive. Nick, badly injured, tries to escape. In the chaos, he searches for Jay, but finds him dead. Silently, Nick covers his friend's body. He then calls Yuko and informs her about everything. Meanwhile, before the inspector can reach him, Nick is brutally beaten by Nakajima's men. Nakajima is just about to kill him until suddenly Inspector Tan arrives and shoots Nakajima on the spot. Later, the inspector searches for Nick and finds him in the same drain where Nick had once saved his life. This time, however, Nick is dying, and there is nothing the inspector can do. In his final moments, Nick takes out the pen drive and hands it over. Moments later, he dies, and his body drifts away into the sewer water. And with that, the story comes to an end.